Good afternoon and welcome to the Park Fire incident. First, I'd like to start with the numbers for the fire. The acreage is 399,437. We're at 24% contained, and we have 6,375 personnel on the fire. Let's get an operational briefing from the Butte Zone.
Good afternoon, Brian Newman, the fire behavior analyst here on the Park incident. So overall on the fire here on the southern end, things are looking really good. There's still crews in there working, make sure then that all the line we have secured is well secured, but overall things looking really good there. Moving further up, closer up to Red Bluff, things are again looking pretty decent in there. Crews are working hard to make sure the line we have secured holds and maintains its current location and doesn't have any problems. Going up here north of Highway 36, west of Paynes Creek, there is some areas up there that gave us some challenges over the past 24 to 36 hours. There is quite a bit of crews working in there and really working hard on that really thick brush to make sure that the fire holds where it's at. Still a lot of smoke being produced out of there and still some fire activity, but generally that area is looking much better than it had been the last few days. Coming across the top here, heading east of Paynes Creek and out towards Mineral, things are still looking secure, looking really good in there. Still some smoke production, still some areas of activity interior, but generally the fire is no longer progressing at this point further north, but there is still quite a bit of heat in there that we're looking at and making sure that it's good and secure. Coming out here a little bit further out, Highway 36, much closer to the Mineral, and then down towards the area between Highway 36 and Highway 32. That's where our main area of focus is. So there's quite a bit of activity in all the creek drainages, and they're really deep drainages here. So Antelope Creek area, there's 3 forks there in the river, so all those areas had a lot of work done on them in the last 24 to 36 hours. A lot of hand crews and bulldozers, and everyone really making a concerted effort to make sure that they could get that line held in there and really make a good point to try to get that forward progress stopped. Now, as we get down in here to the Mill Creek Canyon and Mill Creek drainage area, that's where our most fire activity is currently. So there's a lot of fire that's coming across up out of the drainages and up onto the ridgetop here, and it's producing the big columns of smoke that you're seeing today. So it's continuing to progress up to the east and to the north. And as we get further down in here into Deer Creek, again, really steep drainages, really thick fuels in there, and so a lot of fire activity. That's also where we're seeing the big brunt of our activity in this area here. So a lot of heavy work going on in there. All of our crews in there well engaged, day and night, working in this really tough terrain to try to find a good spot to stop that fire up in there. So a lot of fire activity, a lot of really tough ground, but a lot of good work being done. As we come down on Highway 32 near Butte Meadows, again, a lot of good work's been done in the past few days. Overall, things are looking much better than they were a few days ago. Still a lot of smoke production in there, still a lot of heat interior in that really thick timbered area, but overall things are holding much better than they had been a few days ago. And then as we progress further down Highway 32 in towards the Forest Ranch area, again, we have a lot of heat interior. Those stump holes and those trees and all that heavy fuel still has some heat and smoke in there, but nothing's challenging our control line. So things are looking much better in there compared to a number of days ago. And then again, continuing further down Highway 32 towards Chico, looking much, much better in those lighter fuels. Not much heat left in there, but we're still patrolling, making sure that everything looks really good overall, and just making sure the lines that we've secured are continuing to hold while we deal with the upcoming weather. So we do have some thunderstorms predicted for this evening and into tomorrow. Those are going to be well off to our east. We don't anticipate that they're going to come over the fire exactly, but we're really being cognizant about any outflow winds or anything that could affect the fire here. So we have our meteorologists here taking a good look day and night to make sure that any weather that could impact the fire, our crews out on the line are well aware of that. But generally, we're just seeing a few sprinkles here right now, but nothing that's really causing the fire to be extinguished. It's just a little bit of change in weather. And then as we look forward, we're going to kind of go into a hotter and drier period over the next couple of days. So something we're really preparing for. Thank you.
Now we would hear updates from the Tam County Sheriff, Shasta County Sheriff, and our incident commander.
Good afternoon, Sheriff Dave Kane, Tam County. I'd like to start this afternoon by highlighting some of the movement made in reducing evacuation orders and repopulating some areas of Tam County based on the success of firefighting efforts. This morning around 11 a.m., we began the repopulation process of the Campbellville community. This is a rural community. It's located in the southeast corner of Tam County, just above Cohasset. We had law enforcement staff in the community all day to help facilitate as the public moved back in and provide safety information. I'd like to remind residents of Campbellville the area is still hot, potentially dangerous, and will be a thoroughfare to continue firefighting efforts. I would encourage residents of destroyed residences to leave them undisturbed, as they could have safety concerns for them as well as impacts to potential reimbursement in the future. For any additional concerns regarding that information, you can contact Tam County Environmental Health and Public Health. The affected zones reduced from ordered to warning in that area are 734, 854D, 858, 882C, 854A, 856, and 882B. Just a reminder, these zones will be reduced to a warning. I'd like to encourage everyone in those areas as you return to be prepared. The fire is still unpredictable and things may change, and we may need to do potential evacuation in the future if conditions were to change significantly. After consulting with CAL FIRE, we also have reduced evacuation orders to warnings in the following areas: Zone 444, 462B, and 408. These zones are located immediately west of the Dale Station area. I want to give you an update on an incident that I reported yesterday in regards to theft. We had a reported theft yesterday of equipment from a fire contractor's vehicle reported to our agency here at the fairgrounds in Tam County yesterday morning. Deputies and investigators from our office obtained video surveillance from a motel in the city of Red Bluff where the vehicle was parked. In the video surveillance, a subject rode up to the vehicle on a bicycle, obtained approximately $1,200 worth of tools from the bed of his truck. Our staff was able to identify the suspect as Ramon Ruelas, age 39, of Red Bluff. Our staff immediately got to work looking for Ruelas and the stolen property. After contacting nearly 100 people during the follow-up investigation, deputies received information about the possible whereabouts of the stolen property and Ruelas. When checking the area, they identified where Ruelas had been staying. At that location, the deputies recovered all of the stolen property. The property has since been returned to the rightful owner, who was super appreciative. The hunt for Ruelas continues as we're doing this press release. This message is directly to Ramon. Turn yourself in. If you don't, you're going to make things harder on yourself, your friends, and your family. As we attempt to determine your whereabouts, we will arrest all those in violation of the law and who have warrants. So by the time you get to the jail, there may be people you know there. Ruelas has been contacted by law enforcement in excess of 100 times. Upon locating Ruelas and arresting him, he will be placed in one of our habitual offender beds in the Tam County Jail. See you soon, Ramon. In closing, I'd like to remind our citizens, as we begin to open and repopulate our communities, there are many potential dangers still present. Be aware that the roadways are narrow and being shared by fire apparatus, road crews, power crews, and law enforcement. Drive appropriately and carefully. Protect yourself and those that are protecting and serving our community. Be aware of potential dangers associated with hotspots of the fires, overhead dangers such as trees and down wires, as well as possible caustic chemicals or debris and burned out structures. Be aware that current private roads are open now, but may be closed and locked in the future as the event moves, trapping you behind on private property in fire zones. I appreciate everyone's patience and understanding as I assure you our job is to get you home quickly and safely as possible. We will continue to assess daily the status of the fire and the ability to lift additional evacuation orders and efforts to get people home. I would ask our citizens just to remember as we lift some of the evacuation orders, they will downgrade to warnings. Please be vigilant and aware of what's going on around you and prepare to evacuate again if it is necessary. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Under Sheriff Randall, Shasta County Sheriff's Office. At this hour in Shasta County, we still have a number of areas that are under evacuation in Shingletown, the Manton area. We also have a number of which that are under warnings as well. Presently, we have 24 zones under evacuation warning, affecting approximately 2,600 of our residents. Additionally, we have 10 zones under evacuation order affecting approximately 670 people. This morning, we were able to release 14 zones that have been under evacuation warning, place them in a normal status with no restrictions. This morning, we were also able to release 9 zones that had been under evacuation order and have them downgraded to warnings. Residents returning home whose zones remain under evacuation warning must remember that an evacuation warning means there is still the potential threat to life and property. Residents should also drive safely, as Sheriff Kane had said, because we're going to have a lot of fire and utility crews in the area that are going to need to be working there for some time. For those who remain under evacuation warning and mandatory evacuation, rest assured our security teams will continue to patrol those areas until you are allowed to return home. Our law enforcement partners, along with our deputies with the Shasta County Sheriff's Office, have been working diligently in those areas with directed enforcements, and to this date have made about 14 arrests for a variety of crimes. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Dusty Martin. I'm one of the Unified Incident Commanders for the Park incident. As you heard from our PIO earlier, the fire has grown to 399,437 acres. Of that 399,000, 53,000 acres are in Butte County and 346,437 acres are in Tehama County. Talked about the number of personnel that are currently assigned to this fire at over 6,000 personnel. Those folks have come from all over the state and all over the nation as we've received aid from as far as Texas to come in and help us combat this fire. The Park Fire is currently the 4th largest fire in California's history. Of the resources that we do have at scene, just some really staggering numbers. We have 124 hand crews that are out working the line daily, 542 fire engines assigned to this incident, 190 bulldozers, 148 water tenders, and 41 water dropping helicopters. Those helicopters are spread throughout 3 different helibases to be able to get to the fire at a moment's notice when the air is clear for them to fly. We just ask that the residents in the area stay diligent as this fire, in some areas of the fire, we are starting to get repopulation, and that has come from the hard work of the folks on the ground, getting out there, putting the fire out, and continue to mop up those hot spots. But we want to remind you that we still have other portions of this fire that is still actively burning, and we need you to stay diligent. We have been able to accomplish a lot of things with getting folks back into their houses, but to remind you, as both sheriffs did previously, is in the evacuation warning areas, we need to ensure you are ready to evacuate if we need to at that point in time. Folks that are outside of an evacuation area need to be prepared to evacuate if the status of the incident changes, the fire grows, and be ready to go. And you can find that information on CAL FIRE's website with the Ready, Set, Go program to prepare yourself to leave when needed. We ask that when the order does go out that you leave the area, and that allows the firefighters to get in and start fighting the fire. Over the next couple of days, there's going to be continued information. We ask that you continue to follow all 3 sheriff's departments' websites, CAL FIRE's website, social media sites to get the most up-to-date information. The information on those sites will be vetted and accurate, and that is the best place to go to get information. We will continue to work with our law enforcement partners to evaluate and be able to get folks back into their home and the repopulation. We want you to know that it is our #1 priority to get each and every one of you back into your residence. But to do that, we have to make sure it's safe, not only for you, but also safe for our ground firefighters that'll be out there working. Every day we have multiple meetings that we go over, and we look at when can we start getting folks back into their house. This has not gone unnoticed and is very important to each and every one of us. With that, continue to look for additional information, these press conferences that come out every day, so we can keep you up to date. Have a great day.
For more information from the Park Fire, please go to fire.ca.gov. Again, that is fire.ca.gov. This will conclude the press conference. Thank you and stay safe.